Diolch i'r Prylywydd. Across my region of South Wales Central, countless constituents have been in touch on this very issue, and it is clear that there is an inconsistent service across Wales. And even though there are issues linked to the pandemic that has resulted in reduced services and reduced capacity, the reality is that the bus services have been completely inadequate even prior to this. COVID should not be used as an excuse, and it is crucial that we secure from the Welsh Government detailed plans and timescales on when improvements will be made as soon as possible, and more importantly, the Welsh Government delivers on those. If you own a car and you've planned on using a bus on a certain day, its cancellation or delay is an inconvenience at most. But for those who don't own a car or are unable to drive because of age or a medical condition and rely on buses to get to work, to medical appointments, to go shopping, to take their children to school or to socialise, it can severely impact on their lives. And though there is a specific problem with bus services in rural areas, I think we need to be honest that this is a widespread problem and also affects people living in our towns and cities. And if we are serious about tackling climate change and support more people in using public transport, this cannot continue. To illustrate this, I would like to use an example of my own community of Pontypridd. I live in the Graig Wen area, which is a mile from the town centre, but up a very steep hill. Many elderly people live in my community and are completely reliant on the bus to access basic services. Prior to the pandemic, we had been calling for improvements. The hourly bus service was unreliable. It finished at 5:30 p.m. daily. It did not run on a Sunday or a bank holiday, and neither did it run right to the top of the hill to serve those living in the streets at the top of the estate. People complained to me about feeling isolated and restricted to their homes and could not rely on the bus service. They even struggled to find a taxi to take them to medical appointments if the appointment clashed with the school run, and were anxious any time they had to go anywhere, as they could not be certain a bus would turn up. Even the bus stop is inadequate and provides no shelter from the rain. As I said, these are problems that we faced prior to the pandemic, and they are not unique to Graig Wen. There are also similar issues in relation to the bus services serving other nearby communities to the town, such as Heledd and Glencoch, which has progressively worsened, with services cancelled frequently due to a lack of drivers. In fact, on the 19th of June, the 109, 107 and 105 services did not run at all, with no communication with passengers. I've received similar complaints today about people stranded in the bus station in Pontypridd. One mother living in Heledd contacted me this morning, having heard about today's debate on the news, and shared this with me. I rely on the bus service to get my daughter to school. Very often, buses haven't turned up or are running late. This has resulted in me getting my daughter to school nearly an hour later than when she should be there. Another, also living in Heledd, shared a similar story, stating, "Being a single working mother, I rely on the buses to get me to work to do a shift while my kids are in school, as well as at the weekend. Very often, the bus that's timed to get to the school for pickup is cancelled, and my children are left waiting for me to arrive. This has meant that I have had to allow them to walk home from school earlier than I am comfortable with, as it's just not possible to get there on time due to these bus delays and cancellations being so frequent." A resident from Glencoch shared with me her reliance on a bus to get to work in Nantgarw, and that as a result of buses being cancelled or delayed, she has been late to work on a number of occasions over the past couple of weeks, resulting in less wages for her and her two boys. Others speak of missed medical appointments, including COVID vaccinations and hospital appointments at the Royal Glamorgan Hospital, despite leaving 2 or 3 hours to make what should be a 20-minute journey at most. A common thread runs through all of the correspondence I have received on the issue of local buses. People feel forgotten about, undervalued and don't feel listened to. They are anxious and isolated. This government can change this. This government should change this. We need action, not just words, and those actions are needed now.
Jenny Gaspar.
Thank you very much.